Good morning, my garden and YouTube friends. Well, I'm out in front of my house and I wanted to do a walk around, and I'm trying my camera here on this side, on the side. You can see my finger there, sorry. And I hope that you guys will let me know if this works better for you in seeing the whole picture. Today I'm celebrating. Today is September 9th, 2021, and it was just last year, September 9th, 2020, that I started this YouTube channel, Peggy Helbling's Garden What You've Got. And I did it with the intention that I would probably only maybe have 100 people follow me, and they would be family and friends. I'm pretty quiet person, and I have a small circle of friends, and at 71 you start losing family members. So anyway, it has grown to over 400, and I'm real pleased with that, and I think that's kind of exciting. It doesn't pay anything, or it doesn't really give me any recognition, but hey, what the heck. And I'm having fun, and I hope the people who are watching this and hopefully learning something, whether it's from gardening or whether it's worm keeping, they call that vermiculture, and I hope either way that you enjoy what you're seeing. And if you do, I hope you'll subscribe and ring the little bell so I can come and see you again and again. But I wanted to give you a real quick garden tour. Of course, you know that I talk a lot, so it probably won't be all that quick. But I wanted you to see the swale garden. I started this up again just about 3 weeks ago. I went through and I took everything that was in my yard that was just kind of out of place. I grow pentas, and so I'm sure the birds have carried the penta seeds around. I grow coleus. The wind blows and they end up all over my yard. Marigolds the same. I'm growing balsam, and I'm sure that the balsam seeds are incredible. They pop in your hand, so I'm sure they've just gone everywhere. So what I did is I then took it and brought everything out here, and I tried to make some order out of it and grow a little swale. This is what this side of the yard is called, is the swale is on the street side. And so I have it here. And the reason I have these sticks up is because I'm a very popular way to walk. People like to come by and see what I'm doing. And with them, they bring their dogs. And so some people are looking at the garden as on that side, as the dog is just walking through here and lifting their leg or squatting and dragging my new plants with them. So I thought if I just put these little sticks around, they are actually crepe myrtle, and they provide a nice little stick and a nice little look. I also did a garden over here. We have a telephone box that nobody uses anymore. It's, we all have cell phones, and so we don't really use our landline. We had ours taken out, and they've never come back for this box. So last time I did a planting, I planted marigolds and pentas, and they came up beautifully, and they grew so high that they hid this box. So I'm hoping that that will happen again. And in my front garden, I have still the milkweed that the butterflies have come. I saw a few eggs being laid, but I don't really see where they ate the milkweed. I don't know what happened this year. And but it's there for them in case they want it. Down below I have the giant Japanese spinach that has gone, and it's bolted, and I've cut it back a few times, and probably today I'm just going to rip out these plants and perhaps start again, see what's down underneath. So many of you have asked about this stone border, and it's just bricks and some small stone, and underneath that I have a weed mat that I have several layers, so that and some rocks in front, some big stone. And but the crepe myrtle has performed quite well this year, and I will certainly, when these leaves start to fall, and they will pretty soon. People ask, gee, you're in the South, you guys don't ever have 4 seasons, but we do. We do. These leaves will turn yellow, and then they'll drop off. The blooms will develop berries on the end, and they will blow about. But for the most part, we do have 4 seasons, and we'll lose leaves, and they'll, some things will actually drop completely. But anyway, let's see, moving up here to my front door, it's about time to change the front door wreath to a fall look. And I like these Norfolk pines because they add just a different texture. I can decorate them at Christmas. They look pretty. But coming down here, I have, those are avocados on the left-hand side. Those are a couple avocado little, I took seeds and propped them up in water and got roots, and off they go. And maybe someday I'll plant them in the ground and I'll get avocados. On my right, that's a moringa. And you were with me whenever I planted it, I believe. My friend brought me a small little start of it, and I've planted it there. The leaves are edible, the bark is edible, the roots are edible. It's edible. And it's very good for you. It's very good for inflammation. It's good for people who have intestinal problems, which I have Crohn's disease, so he was very thoughtful in bringing that. Down here, this is Brazilian spinach to my right, and it's an interesting taste. I think so many of these spinaches that I'm growing and greens, they have their own unique flavor, and you have to kind of get used to it or decide if you want to cook it or whatever. On the left-hand side, this is pigeon pea. And it seems to be almost just kind of like staying where it is. It's not really doing a great performance. Like the moringa was probably only 6 inches when he brought it to me, and that was just maybe 5 weeks ago, and it's probably tripled in size. So it's a go-getter. And but those of you who followed me, you know that I bought some Everglades tomato seeds, and I planted them, and this was one that it came out really, really well, and so I decided to plant it in a pot. And I'm just looking along with you, and I don't know if you can see that, but it looks to me like I have a couple little blooms that are going to try and come out. And Everglades tomatoes are supposed to grow year-round here in the South. Now, I planted 4 of them in this tray that came out, and boy, they're going gangbusters too, and I think I need to find a place for them to really explode, just take off. So my other little starts, because these were all the same time. All of these starts are the same little starts, and came from the same little tray. I then, a week ago, I planted 1 basil and 1 tomato in this pot and this one over here, and they have both just gone mad in 1 week. But you can see how tiny they are compared to this 4 that doesn't have quite the leg room, and this guy who is by himself. And then the 5 really scrawny little things I planted here in a pot by themselves, and I thought, well, if they start to perform, we'll give them their own space. I think you can see everything else. The coleus is doing okay, and there's in the background here, there's that's a gardenia. But the coleus will stay all year long. The liriope will stay all year long. Pentas will stay forever. You can see that these are volunteers. So they just come up and they come out. But back over here, I just wanted to say one thing about this. This is a Drake elm tree, and I just swept here this morning. But these elm leaves will turn golden, and they will fall. And during the winter, and this tree will go bare. It'll go completely bare. And as it gets older, it drops its skin. It just sheds. It sheds its skin over here. And that's the beauty of the tree, is you'll see this eventually, another year or two, you'll just see nothing but bark there, or just the skin of the tree. But anyway, in the winter, you can almost, when the wind starts to blow, it sounds like it's raining, because the leaves are golden and they will just shower down. And instead of throwing them away, I'll collect them and put them on the ground back here, so that they'll break down and add to my soil, because I not only grow plants, I grow soil. And here we have some volunteers from the balsam that are coming back. My caladiums are sort of come back. I ripped all this out yesterday. I took all of the balsam that had gotten really large, the marigolds, everything that was here. And you can see I've even just got, you can see how they, they send up volunteers. And I have a few things just sprouting back there. I think they're tomatillos. But I am going ahead and starting to plant again for September. And our weather hasn't really broken and gotten any cooler yet, but I'm preparing for it. And what I'm going to be planting here is some leaf lettuce and some bib lettuce. I've grown this before. I use these trays again and again. They've probably been used. I've had them since 1982, and I would guess that they have been used 100 times. I painted them a year or so ago, and I usually just clean them up and get them a little spruce up each time. But here's the seeds. These are the bib lettuce seeds. And then here's the leaf. This is a gourmet blend, so you have half black seeds and half kind of a creamy colored seed. And I've added in some worm castings to the mix, and I even found a worm in there that, where are you, buddy? Oh yeah, you can see him. See him kind of hedging around. Now that's a red wiggler. He came out of my worm casting, so I will return him back to the worm bin in the house. So we'll make sure that he stays nice and cool. There you go. You stay there. I promise I'll come back for you. Hopefully, this is 9/9, September 9th. So hopefully in about 3 weeks, I'll not only have sprouts, but I'll have the beginnings of what I can start harvesting, just a few leaves here and there. And we haven't bought any spinach or lettuce fresh for probably about 2 years, and just two of us, and we have it almost every night. So that's nice, isn't it? Nice and fresh. Rick helped me trim the bougainvillea. He didn't do too bad. I did up underneath and got it kind of curved the way I want it. I curve it, and I clean those branches, the bark off, and I clean behind it. And then he got up on top and he cut off the rogue branches that are going up in the air, and that was good. But I took all of those, by the way, and he ran the mower over them, and I put those in the compost pile. So actually I put them as covering in the back. You'll see it. This is our ligustrum, and you can see that it looks really healthy. Ligustrum is really prone to cercospora, which is a leaf fungus, and it looks just like this. But this one has really outgrown it, and everybody looks very happy and healthy. And down here at the base, we built this little wall. Not that it's anything grand, but the liriope here stays nice and healthy. It provides a nice ground cover, and it looks pretty. And you guys have seen my water rocks. This is one of them. I bought this from Echo back in, I think, 2008 maybe. And it's 40 gallons. I get rainwater. I have one on this side and I have one on the other side of the porch. And it's great for getting rainwater and keeps things going. So, and then here's my viburnum hedge. Unfortunately, we have our air conditioner, which everybody has to have in Florida. Now on this side of the house is where I have my pea trellises. And I have peas that have come back, and you can see all the little, they're trying. It's awfully hot for peas and beans to be germinating. I have two podocarpus, Japanese yews, that need to be trimmed, but they look pretty good, and I try to keep them as healthy as I can. They're very prone to aphids here in Florida, and so if you have a neighbor who has any aphids, then you have them. And so I try to keep mine really clean so that I'm not passing on anything. Now we're in the backyard, and my backyard is more of a tropical backyard. I'll just do a wide sweep here and then identify everyone. But as we say back here, aloha. Aloha noa hui ho. Hawaii no ka oi. So, lots of tropicals. Lots of tropicals. It's kind of the peaceful part of the yard. Over here we have our tea plants. That's TI. Cordylan, I think, is the technical name for it. And coleus underneath. I have some parsnips growing there, or are they turnips? I can't remember. The ones that look like big carrots. And my compost pile, which is nothing but grass clippings and shredded cardboard and shredded brown paper bags and a little bit of shredded paper. The shredded paper seems to clump, so not so good. I have a Norfolk pine back there trying to keep the armadillo from coming in that corner, but if you know armadillos, they're tenacious. The agapanthus are all growing very well in front of that. Some caladiums. These are actually lava rock. Cool, isn't it? Does it make any sound? No, it doesn't. If you've ever seen lava come spewing out, it's the Hawaiians always say they're creating new real estate, because it certainly will. This is my papaya that I planted. A friend brought it to me, and it was middle of March, and I was so sad because a couple of the papaya fell off, and I'm blaming the squirrel. And my husband said that he doesn't think that it's a squirrel. He thinks that it's just that the plant is telling me that it's too young to be bearing fruit. So there's 3 more up there, and we'll see if they hang on or if they fall off. But it's beautiful, isn't it? I mean, look at these leaves. Does this look like the tropics or what? I would think it seems pretty firm. I don't know if that would work in a flower arrangement. You could probably, cut these off and stab them into oases. and I think they would wilt pretty fast. But okay, that's leaf. I was just looking. I thought I had a chrysalis starting there, but no, it was just leaf. You know, when you come back to your yard every day, you find things. You do. And so I make it a point. These are the amaryllis. I have them all in pots. Kind of keeps them, if you can see back there, let me point you over to one. And come spring, they will send out those beautiful amaryllis blooms. But in the meantime, they're great for just leaves. This is part of the giant Japanese spinach I had growing in my Meals on Wheels and on the back porch. And I brought them out here, but I think it's too much wet. I can't, it's getting daily watering from two angles. I also have rust that is becoming a real problem on my plumeria, and so you know, that fungus is falling down, and so I'm out here every day trying to pick it up, but you know, I'm sure it's getting into the ground. So this is my sweet potato that I'm growing, actually more for a vine than for anything else, and I keep saying that I need to turn the pot over and see if I have tubers in there, which I'm sure I do. My hibiscus, I went ahead and cut it back. I was getting some aphids on the tips, right at the flower, and instead of trying to, sorry, I just wanted to throw that away. Instead of trying to treat the aphids, I decided to just totally take them off the top, and I had them in a bag, and you know, sealed that off, and it didn't touch the ground. So hopefully I got enough of the population that and they have nothing that they want, because they really want the tender young leaves and the blooms. So hopefully that will keep them at bay for a bit. And but otherwise, you guys know that I use the BC powder and water with a few drops of dish soap, and then spray it on top and underneath early in the morning before anybody else is out. Moving right along, this is my little square foot garden that I've grown greens, and I've grown radishes, and I've grown all sorts of things. Now I have my sweet potato slips coming up, and I want to grow them up these crepe myrtle branches, and then I will hopefully have tubers underneath. But in the meantime, I'm going to also grow some greens of some sort, maybe more of the Japanese, giant Japanese red mustard seeds will go in here, and that would be great. If I can kind of mound them up, they don't have anything above them like over there. So perhaps that will work even better. We'll give it a shot. I mean, what do I have to lose? And over here I did the same thing. And here I have a bean plant, because I had beans on here. If you watched me before, you know that this was my idea, was that I grew all the beans up here, and then that acted as a shade cloth for my June, July, August greens that I had growing down here, and that worked really well. The beans were okay. I probably got maybe a couple pounds off of each of these trellises, and they were delicious. They were. I didn't know that I liked green beans, so you know, who knew? The agapanthus. This was a show me what works and what doesn't. I thought I would leave these on here and that they would go ahead and dry. Well, I think they've gotten a little bit too wet. Some of the stems are still firm, but I think if I do this again, I will go ahead and cut them and then let them dry, maybe either up in the attic or in the garage. You know, just tie them up and hang them upside down. And because it's a very cool, you know, if you take these and once they're dry, you could spray them. You know, like if you wanted to spray it gold, it would be really cool at Christmas, or spraying it silver for New Year's Eve. You know, I was a florist. We don't die. You know, we just our blooms just hang a little lower. This is the other lollipop hibiscus. For those of you who don't know why it's called a lollipop, it's because the stem is braided to give it strength, and then it's shaped in a circle, and it's kind of like you try to keep that shape, and it's hard to keep that shape and to have it bloom, but it does. It works pretty well. Again, on this side, we've got more of the tea plants. That's TI. Underneath, it's peace lilies, also known as a spathiphyllum, and more plumeria. These plumeria came with me when I left Hawaii in 1979. I brought just a tiny little piece with me that was probably maybe a foot long and had no leaves on it, and I stuck it in a shoe, and I've probably grown 100 plants at least this size, and in the 40-some years. Someone gave me a what is this big guy? I can't think of his name. I'll think of it in a minute, but gave it to me, and it was a tiny little thing, and he said, oh, just feed it a banana every now and then. And I keep wanting to say moss something, but I know that's not it. And so it's gotten so heavy that I have to put it on the back fence to try and keep it back there. And it's the only shady spot really in my yard. And so that's where it stays, and it seems very happy back here. More plumeria, more tea plants. I have probably agapanthus and agapanthus and amaryllis just about everywhere. I grew 2 mangoes from seed, and I don't know if they're going to make it or not, but we're giving it its own little spot. I have one here, and I have one when you first came in the backyard. My crepe myrtle is from a start from the one in the front yard. It just loves it back here, grows like mad, and I could probably take all of these and get starts off of them, but these are suckers, and so we cut this back.